Isidorus Carmanides. Tell me, how many of you are not familiar with the subject? In fact, I believe that the majority of the audience has spent many hours trying to solve this traditional game. So did I. For years now, I've been experimenting with the cube and I have always been wondering, what mathematical mysteries does this game hide? Is there a specific algorithm which can lead us to a solution? And how many moves does it require from any random stage? Fortunately, I'm starting here today to give you the answers. The main rationale of this puzzle is that the user begins from a random initial configuration, and as he applies a sequence of moves, he is finally led to the final configuration. The extensive research on the cube has led many mathematicians in the development of Gantt algorithm GA. GA applies to puzzles that can assume a finite number of configurations with a relatively small, well-defined arsenal of moves that may once be applied and finally lead us to a new configuration. We can say that GA for a given puzzle is a practical algorithm that solves the puzzle and produces only optimal solutions. But what does the term practical mean, and what is an optimal solution? A solution is optimal if the sequence of moves is as short as possible, and an algorithm is considered as practical as long as it doesn't require extraordinary amounts of memory or time. With these details known, let me continue my presentation on how this algorithm works. GA was initially applied by Moore and Tysfeld, whose idea was to divide the problems into subproblems. While algorithms up to that point were trained to focus on the part of the cube that should remain fixed, he trained it to focus on the quality of moves that could perform. Specifically, he divided the cube into the following subgroups: G0, G1, G2, G3, and G4. Next, he prepared tables for each of the right constant spaces, Gi plus 1 and Gi, and he found that any random cube structure belongs to the general cube group Go. After that, he applied a corresponding process relative to the cube in G1, next to G2, and finally to G3. The number of moves required by this algorithm is the sum of the largest processing step. Initially, Tysfeld saw that any configuration could be solved at 8 to 5 moves maximum, and he later reduced this number to 4 to 5 moves. Based on Tysfeld's algorithm, Herbert Kosiemba later reduced the number of injury-mated groups to only 3, G0, G1, and G2, and he finally improved the number of moves to 20. In conclusion, all these mathematical approaches to the cube, except from developing new math theories and problems, have also given the chance to many Rubik's fans to practice new problem-solving methods and finally put the cube amongst the world's most dazzling puzzle games.